I hope this video will help guide somebody who is totally brand new to the I Ching 64 hexagrams Book of Changes to be able to do a pretty damn good reading with the tarot and the I Ching using the Spirit Keeper's Tarot deck. You'll see in the back of the little white booklet that comes with your deck that you do have a reference table for the trigrams. You'll see here what all the 8 trigrams are. When the 2 trigrams combine to form hexagrams, what the hexagrams are here, all 64 here. And so, for example, if you're doing a tarot reading and you pull 2 cards, the first card I pull is the 8 of Orbs. You see the trigram on the bottom, and then you pull another card and you see a trigram on the bottom left corner. So now you have 2 cards, 2 trigrams on the bottom left corners. What you can do is, if you don't know what those trigrams are, you look it up in the little white booklet. So you'll find this reference table here. I'm sorry, the sunlight's a little bad today. It's bright and early in the morning. So you look here in your little white booklet and you reference what the 2 trigrams are. So the first one you see is going to be wind. The 8 of Orbs corresponds with the trigram wind. Then you look at the 10 of Orbs here. Oh, I pulled both orbs. That's interesting. Anyway, so then you look at the 10 of Orbs and you find the trigram reference over here and you see that it is mountains. So the first one is the trigram wind. The second one is the trigram mountain. And in the I Ching divinatory method, it's always bottom up. You always construct a hexagram from bottom up. So the trigram on the bottom is wind. The trigram on top is mountain. So now you look here. You see lower, there's a column for lower and there's a column for upper. So lower, I just keep looking for wind, and then upper, I find hexagram, trigram mountain, and that is hexagram 18. If you have a copy of the Book of Maps, you'll notice that there are short form oracle messages for all 64 hexagrams in the back. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. So what you would do is the hexagram that you just pulled, that would be hexagram 18, 12, 13. You just look it up in here. Hexagram 18 is decay, an opportunity for reparations. If you don't have the Book of Maps, you can get any version of the Book of Changes and look up the hexagram in there. However, translations or quality of translations do vary and run the whole gamut. Let's do a reading together right now, shall we? So the question I want to ask is, what does my heart most need right now? You can use soul in place of heart, just in terms of how you perceive heart versus soul. So I want to say heart today. What does my heart most need right now? I like to shuffle the cards, and as I shuffle, I repeat the question. I almost feel like my question, I try to convert it into energy, and then as I convert it into energy, chi, Reiki, however you want to talk about it, and weave it almost like I'm sewing that energy into the cards and winding it throughout the cards as I'm shuffling. That's how I perceive it. So what does my heart most need right now? And then I think about the lower trigram of the hexagram that I'm going to be constructing, and I pull a card. What does my heart most need right now? What does my heart most need right now? Upper trigram. Oh, Wheel of Fortune. That is wind. So I have thunder over, oh, I'm going to put, okay, we don't know. We don't know. No. We don't know what the trigrams are. So we have 2 trigrams. We don't know what they are. And so what I'm going to do is look it up in the little white book. So you go to the back of the little white booklet where it has the trigram references. So I pull up the first card that I had drawn. I look on the bottom left corner. Now let's see, what does that trigram, that symbol, look like? Okay, it looks like thunder, so this is thunder. Then I pull up the second one. What does that trigram look like? Okay, has 2 bars and it has 2 straight lines and 1 broken line, 2 yang lines and 1 yin line. And that would be wind according to this little reference book. So then you construct it. Remember, the first card is always the lower trigram, and the second card you pulled is always the upper trigram. So I'm looking for wind over thunder because wind is the upper trigram as the second trigram that you pull from the second card. Thunder was the first card, so that's the lower trigram. So it'd be wind over thunder. So according to the little white booklet, if you use the trigram reference, thunder, lower trigram, wind, upper trigram, that's wind over thunder, is hexagram number 42 on the ascent. Hexagram 42. So what is hexagram 42? If you have the book of maps, you can look up the short form I Ching oracle messages quite quickly. It's right in the back of the book. So what you do is you look up number 42. Hexagram 42 on the ascent, increase, burgeoning, a state of increase and expansion. So what does my heart most need right now? Opportunities come knocking. So my heart needs to be mindful of and really observant of the horizon line to see what is coming ahead, because what is coming up ahead is an opportunity I'm going to want to seize immediately as soon as it's within my line of sight, because it's going to bring me increase and expansion. Just reading the divination, I'm saying. I'm not. So I'm just kind of walking you through how I would interpret a reading for myself. In those opportunities, these opportunities that are coming for me, the sage will discern the benevolent from the malevolent. Throughout the I Ching Book of Changes, and also a concept that you find throughout Confucianism, is Junzi. It's traditionally translated to mean gentleman, upright citizen, good Samaritan. Higher self is another one I kind of like to use, though I think higher self, optimal self, the best version of yourself is kind of the meaning behind that word junzi. So the way I've translated it, I use the word sage as in your inner sage. What I love about the messages in the Book of Changes, the I Ching, is the wisdom. So for example, I'm going to skip a couple of lines and read onward. When you gain, you must share your gains. If you do not use your means to benefit others, your own end will be ominous. To keep your good fortune, you must give it away freely. Note, however, that your window of opportunity will not be open for long. The time for increase and ascent is now. So that last part of the divinatory message that you're getting is that time is of the essence. So it's letting me know that there's an incredible opportunity on the horizon coming my way, but I really have to act fast to seize upon it. Once I seize upon that opportunity, it's going to bring me like a small boon. But once I attain that, I need to freely give away a large part of that. If I do not give away a large part of what I have received, I will lose it, or it will be ominous, as you remember the oracle message. So that is the message that I got from the two cards. I will also, of course, read the two cards as a two-card reading. Now, if you recall, it was the 10 of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune card. So quite quickly, how I would read that is it's something that's going to be a lot of work on me. So it sounds like this opportunity that's coming is work or employment related. It takes labor. I'm going to have to work for it. That's why I'm getting the 10 of Wands or the burdened one. The Wheel of Fortune, I read that as echoing what I just read from the I Ching oracle message, which is kind of this incredible blessing that's coming. It's a turn of the Wheel of Fortune. I also hope if you're new to the SKT, even if you are not new to the tarot, if you're new to this Revelation edition, which I'm assuming everybody watching this right now is, because I'm new to this deck. It just came out. So if you are new to the Revelation edition of the SKT, I really encourage you to look up each card meaning one by one in your readings, at least for the first few trials with the deck in the little white booklet. I think it does add a layer of meaning to it, or gives you a sense of maybe where I'm coming from. That doesn't necessarily mean anything for your divination itself, but might satiate some level of curiosity. I think anytime we look at a work of art, we're all curious. what was the artist thinking? It may not change our view of the work itself. It might not change how we interpret the work of art, but it does give, it's just interesting, right? So you can always look up the little card meanings in the little white booklet. So the burden one, 10 of scepters, I depicted Atlas in here. So what I like to do is think about the story or myth of the god, goddess, immortal, or figure that is being depicted on each card, and what something about that story, that narrative, is echoing the thing from my life that I need to pay attention to the most right now. So I think of the mythology of Atlas and ask myself, what is it about the story of Atlas that I need to pay attention to in terms of answering that question that I asked, what does my heart need most right now? And then in the Wheel of Fortune card, we see depicted Shai, the Egyptian god of fate and fortune, or it's perhaps better to say the personification of fate and fortune. I wanted to keep this instructional very distilled and oversimplified and yet operable. So I'm not going to get any more in-depth into the I Ching, and I don't think you need to either. Just follow what we just did here, see what your results are. And over time, if this is really interesting to you, then you go on ahead and proactively learn more about the I Ching. What are the 64 hexagrams? What are trigrams? So if it really interests you, then you take that initiative to go learn. I do offer an online independent study I Ching course, if that's of interest to you. There are 6 cards in the deck that don't have a trigram, but they have this Taoist power symbol. For example, look on key 11, the Chancellor, 7, the Chariot card. You'll see key 1, the Magus, the Magician card. People say Magus, right? I say Magus, I don't know. When you get the Taoist power cross as the symbol rather than a trigram, this is an amplifier. So what it does is it amplifies or it repeats whatever other trigram was pulled in the 2-card draw. So for example, let's say you get the Magus and you get the Demon card, for example, right? So the trigram here is Earth. That means you would repeat Earth twice. That's hexagram 2. And so if you got the Tower card, which is thunder, and then you got, for example, key 11, again, it has that power cross here in the corner, then it amplifies this trigram, so this is doubled. So whatever this card was, here it's thunder over thunder. If you are doing a 2-card reading so that you can cast an I Ching hexagram where you kind of read the 2 cards in tarot and then you get that summation oracle message from the I Ching hexagram, and you pull a Herald, one of the tarot pages, recall from the video on court cards what tarot pages mean, the invitation to pull an additional card. So let's say you get the first card is the 9 of chalices, the 9 of cups, the wish granted. This is water. So this is corresponding with the trigram water. That means the lower trigram is water. And let's just say for purposes of demonstration, the second card you pull is the Herald of the Flame, and this is the Page of Wands. Awaken the brilliance is the keywords there, and the trigram corresponding to the Page of Wands is thunder. And so now you have thunder over water, and you do the reading as we talked about. But the second card was the Page, and we said that the Page represents an intermediary, a messenger who is saying that there's an archetype or an inner archetype or a god goddess figure who has a message that wants to come through from the unconscious part or from the spiritual celestial realm into your material realm so that you can do something productive with this prophecy, this prophetic message, or to activate a particular inner archetype. Because when you wear the persona of this particular god or goddess, wear the persona of this archetype, activate it, it will get you to achieve what it is you want to achieve. This is the persona required to get the work done. So what you do is I will then take the deck and shuffle, think about them, and try to connect to the messenger. So for example, look at the element or the suit that the herald is coming from. Here in this example, it's the suit of scepters, fire energy. So I try to feel that fire energy. I try to think of scepters, wands. I just kind of embody that element of fire and try to think about that. And then you pull a card. The third card, the additional card you pull is the message. Action required. And it's fire too. How crazy is that? It's just very interesting synchronicities. Anyway, so then you pull the third card, and the third card is an additional message. This is the archetype coming through. This is that other message. And also because in this specific case, this is a knight card. Knights represent action required. We learned that from video 2. That means the message that's coming through here, the I Ching oracle message I get from here, is going to be telling me that I need to do something, action required. So pay attention, go back to the reading that I just did and see the message of action required and figure out exactly what it is I need to do. When the lower trigram is water and the upper trigram is thunder, that means thunder over water. Look it up, hexagram 40 in the book of maps or any book of changes that you have, and you find the oracle message. This is hexagram 40, redemption, deliverance, release of tension. And now you read the oracle message because the Knight of Wands came through. You read this message as action required. This message is telling you you've got to do something. Get it?
I hope you'll give the 2-card tarot and I Ching hexagram readings a try when you need direction, when you need guidance, when you seek to hear the counsel of the oldest of gods, the oldest of powers. The oracle of the I Ching is where